Shalom, my friends. Today, we must have a serious talk, man to man. This is for the men who are building, striving, and fighting every single day, but feel like they are running a race without knowing the finish line. There are certain critical lessons about life, power, and purpose that most men learn far too late, often after a painful failure, a devastating loss, or a lifetime of quiet regret. Today, I am going to give you the cheat sheet. I will reveal the 7 foundational lessons from the Torah's blueprint for manhood that will save you decades of wasted time and preventable pain. These are the lessons I wish someone had given me when I was 25. But first, a question for the men listening. What is one lesson you wish you had learned earlier in your life? What piece of wisdom would have saved you from a major mistake in your career, your finances, or your relationships? Share that hard-won wisdom in the comments below. Your experience can be a guide for a younger man on the path behind you. Before we open this sacred instruction manual for men, I need you to enlist in our army of builders. We are on a mission to reach 50,000 subscribers, to raise up a generation of men who live by a higher code, men of value, purpose, and power. If you are ready to be one of them, then do your part. Hit that subscribe button right now. Join this brotherhood, this mishpacha. And listen, for the men who are ready to graduate from student to master, I have something extraordinary. I have opened enrollment for the Torah Millionaire Business School, but I must warn you, it is closing very soon. For just $299, I will unveil the full Torah wealth system, the same 3,000-year-old Jewish money laws that have built dynasties and funded kingdoms. This is not theory. This is the master strategy. The link is in the comments below. If you feel the call to build a true legacy, do not wait. When the door closes, it closes. Now listen to me. The world gives a young man a very clear and very wrong set of instructions. It tells him, be strong, be aggressive, be successful, chase money, chase women, chase status. It teaches him to be a warrior in the marketplace and a conqueror in his personal life. It builds a man who is all exterior, a powerful body, a sharp mind, an impressive resume, but it leaves the interior, the soul, completely undeveloped. It creates a generation of men who are incredibly skilled at winning the battles of the world, but who are complete amateurs in the war for their own soul. And that, my friends, is why so many successful men are privately miserable, anxious, and empty. I was the poster boy for this flawed model of manhood. In my 20s, I was a machine. I was driven by a relentless ambition. I outworked everyone. I was obsessed with the metrics of success, the size of my bank account, the speed of my car, the prestige of my address. I saw kindness as a weakness and introspection as a waste of time. I was a brilliant tactician in the game of business, but a complete fool in the game of life. I remember closing a multi-million-dollar deal and feeling nothing. Just a brief, hollow flicker of victory, immediately replaced by the anxious question, what's next? I was a king on the outside and a beggar on the inside. Here is the fundamental problem, the common enemy for men. You have been taught to build your life from the outside in, instead of from the inside out. You spend all your energy polishing the armor, but you neglect the warrior inside. You focus on your net worth, but you ignore your self-worth. You build a magnificent house, but you leave the foundation cracked and crumbling. The world's model of masculinity is a recipe for a midlife crisis. It creates men who wake up at 45 years old, surrounded by all the trappings of success, with a terrifying and soul-crushing question: is this all there is? The hidden mechanism is the Torah's definition of a true man. In Hebrew, the word for man is gever. It shares the same root as the word gevura, which means strength or discipline. But it also shares a root with the word lehitgaber, which means to overcome. A gever, a true man, is not one who is born strong. He is one who overcomes his own nature. He is a man who has mastered his own internal chaos. The world tells a man to conquer the world. The Torah tells a man to conquer himself first. The world tells you to be a man of success. The Torah tells you to be a man of value. And the ultimate irony is that when you focus on becoming a man of value, success will chase you down like a lion. The cost of following the world's model is a life of quiet desperation. It is the man who has 1,000 acquaintances, but not a single true friend. It is the man who has a beautiful family, but has no real connection with them, because he was always too busy. It is the man who reaches the top of the ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. It is a life that looks good on paper, but feels empty in the heart. It is the tragedy of a life spent winning a game that doesn't matter. Now, let me show you the Torah's ultimate case study in manhood. King David. Not the sanitized version from a children's book, but the real, raw, and deeply human King David. Here was a man who was a mighty warrior, a brilliant strategist, a poetic genius, and a king who built an empire. But he was also a man who made catastrophic mistakes. He was overcome by lust. He committed adultery and murder. He was, at times, an arrogant and neglectful father. He was flawed. He was human. And yet, the Torah calls him a man after God's own heart. Why? Because David's greatness was not in his perfection. It was in his constant struggle to overcome himself. It was in his willingness to shatter his own ego, to admit his mistakes, and to always return to God. His life is a masterclass in the lessons that turn a boy into a gever. That hollow feeling I had after closing that big deal was my first wake-up call. I was Saul, tall, impressive on the outside, but empty within. I realized I had to stop being Saul and start learning to be David. I had to start building my life from the inside out. Now, let me share with you the 7 critical lessons that I learned from the life of King David and the wisdom of our sages. The lessons that most men learn far too late. Lesson number 1. True strength is not the absence of fear, but acting in spite of it. When David faced Goliath, the Torah doesn't say he wasn't afraid. A teenage boy facing a 9-foot-tall killing machine? Of course he was afraid. But he had something stronger than his fear. his faith. The world teaches men to suppress fear, to pretend it doesn't exist. This is a lie. It creates brittle men who shatter under real pressure. The Torah teaches you to acknowledge your fear, to feel it, and then to connect with a source of courage that is greater than your fear. True strength is not being fearless, it is being faithful. Lesson number 2. Your greatest victories will come after your worst failures. David's darkest moment was his sin with Bathsheba. He hit rock bottom. He was a murderer, an adulterer, a failed king. He had lost everything. But what did he do? He wrote Psalm 51, the most powerful prayer of repentance ever written. He took his brokenness and transformed it into a masterpiece of spiritual art. He did not let his failure define him, he let it refine him. The world teaches men to hide their failures. The Torah teaches that your failures are the raw material for your greatest growth. The moment you stop being afraid to fail is the moment you become truly powerful. Lesson number 3. A man who cannot control his desires is not a king, but a slave. David's sin with Bathsheba was a failure of self-control. For a moment, he let his Yetzer Hara, his evil inclination, take the throne, and it nearly destroyed his kingdom. This is the central battle of a man's life. The world tells you to follow your desires. The Torah tells you to master them. A man who is a slave to his lust, his greed, or his appetite for food or fame is not a free man. He is a puppet. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Fathers, asks, "Who is strong?" And it answers, "He who conquers his inclination." This is the definition of a gever. Lesson number 4. Wisdom is more powerful than a weapon. King Solomon, David's son, wrote in Ecclesiastes, "Wisdom is better than weapons of war." David was a great warrior, but his most enduring legacy is not his military conquests. It is the book of Psalms. It is his wisdom, his poetry, his connection to God. The world teaches a man to accumulate weapons, the weapons of money, status, and influence. The Torah teaches a man to accumulate wisdom. A man with a sword can win a battle. A man with wisdom can avoid the war altogether. Spend more time sharpening your mind and your soul than you do sharpening your sword. Lesson number 5. The toughest man is the one who is quickest to forgive. Look at David's relationship with King Saul. Saul hunted him, tried to kill him, and drove him into exile. David had 2 opportunities to kill Saul and end the threat, and both times he refused. He cut off a corner of Saul's robe, but his heart was pained even by that small act of disrespect. The world teaches that forgiveness is a weakness. The Torah teaches that it is the ultimate strength. It takes no strength to hold a grudge. A child can do that. It takes the strength of a king to let one go. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Lesson number 6. A man's true wealth is measured by what he gives, not what he keeps. David's final act as king was not to build a bigger palace for himself, but to gather all the materials for his son Solomon to build the Holy Temple, the Beit HaMikdash. He spent his final years amassing a fortune not for his own glory, but for a sacred project that would serve his people and honor his God. The world teaches you to measure your life by your net worth. The Torah teaches you to measure your life by your give worth. Are you a reservoir that hoards water until it becomes stagnant? Or are you a river that brings life to everything it touches? A man's legacy is not what he accumulates, it is what he contributes. Lesson number 7. You are not the main character in your story, God is. This is the hardest and most important lesson for any man to learn. From a young age, we are taught to be the hero of our own story. But David, even at the height of his power, understood that he was not the hero. He was a supporting actor in God's story. This is the meaning of his famous declaration, "The Lord is my shepherd." A shepherd is in charge, but the sheep is the one who gets to enjoy the green pastures. When you make God the main character, you take the crushing weight of the universe off your own shoulders. You are free to play your role with passion and excellence, knowing that the final outcome is in the hands of the director. These 7 lessons are the pillars of authentic Torah-based manhood. They are the lessons that most of us, myself included, had to learn the hard way. But you don't have to. So, here is my challenge to you. The 30-day Manhood Challenge. For the next 30 days, you will focus on mastering just one of these lessons. Here are your 3 immediate actions to prepare. 1. Choose the one lesson from this list that hits you the hardest, the one that you know is your biggest weakness. Write it down. 2. Find a man you respect, a father, a mentor, a friend, and share this lesson with him. Ask him how he learned it in his own life. Wisdom is forged in conversation. 2. Identify one specific, concrete action you can take tomorrow to live out that lesson. If your lesson is about giving, identify one person or cause you can give to tomorrow. If it's about self-control, identify one desire you will consciously master. Remember the promise. It is never too late to learn these lessons. It is never too late to change the foundation of your life. Stop trying to be the man the world wants you to be. Start the holy work of becoming the man God created you to be. As King David said in the Psalms, "Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." This is the ultimate prayer of a man, not for more success, not for more wealth, but for a pure heart and a steadfast spirit. That is the beginning and the end of true manhood. Shalom, and may you be blessed with the courage to learn the lessons, the strength to conquer yourself, and the profound peace of becoming a true giver, a man after God's own heart. Amen.